It's just a short video, hopefully pretty short, to show you how we touch up walls. The first thing obviously is repairs. I've got a deep hole here and I've got a very small hole here. For small holes, we use, this particular thing came from a paint store. It's quick dry spackle. We keep the lid on very tight because it dries very quickly. And for a small hole like that, we don't even use a putty knife. We just finger paint it and wipe it clean, and it will dry very quickly. It can be painted. I could even paint it now. It really wouldn't matter. But for bigger holes like this, I would use a spackle knife, and I might leave a little mound there for sanding later. This stuff does not sand very smooth. It's not very dense, unlike drywall spackle. Drywall compound, which dries very dense. Unfortunately, it shrinks. So you have to decide what you want to use in each case. We like the quick stuff, and we can keep a touch up from flashing. It's really not that hard. And how do you do that? There's three things to remember when you touch up a wall. There's the color. There's the texture, which means the roller texture, the orange peel that the brush or roller actually leaves. And there's the gloss, which is the hard thing. The color, you might think, well, I have all these samples. I can just sort of hold them up there and pick the one. If you're painting the whole room, and you might even choose a new color, and that's fine. If you want exactly the same color, well, you can do one coat if you have exactly the same color. In order to get an eyeball match, what we would do is we would come to any kind of switch, like a wall switch, remove the cover, and you can see that the painters leave these off while they're painting, and so they went right up to the socket there. And look at this old razor knife from my grandfather. You don't get these anymore. And I would just come in and I would cut a little sample out. And that's really all you need if you're going to do an eyeball match. You just hold it up. You take it to the paint store actually and let them do it because they're much better at it. And you'd get close enough so that you could do it all in one coat. But there's something that's more important. If you're doing, let's say I just want to cover this area, I need exactly the same paint. I don't know what that paint is. Maybe I know that this whole house was painted with Benjamin Moore, but I don't know the right color. So what I'm going to have to do is take a sample to the paint store, and they need a large sample, about 1 inch square or round, to put on a lens that's going to read the color with a computer, with a spectrometer. So what we do is here, and you can see I've been practicing, we simply make a somewhat of a deep incision, like a surgeon. That should be enough. And then, using any other sharp knife, we dig. So you have to. That's what I was doing here. I was digging down in because you don't want to tear this paint. You want this to be clean and free of cracks. So you would push in, and you would just sort of dig it out slowly, or go all the way around. And at some point, it's just going to pop right out. Oh, there it is. And take that to the store. I would keep it in a plastic bag on the way to the store because it's obviously very messy. And they will put it on. They will give you their color. If this is a Sherwin-Williams wall, and you take it to a Benjamin Moore store, they will give you the Benjamin Moore color that is closest to this, which is probably not going to match. So in this case, if I were doing that professionally, I would paint probably from corner to corner, maybe even just here to here if it was close enough. And it depends on the customer and who is you, who's me. I put this little tape up here. I put this, you can use your hand masker, which I have on one of my posts. This thing is great, little, just tape and paper. And if I was going to dig that out and I didn't want to make a mess, that would catch you could use a Post-it note even just to catch the crumbs. This next thing is texture matching, which is, we've talked about color matching. Gloss matching is the same as the paint store will do that for you. As I explained in the post, I won't go over that again. Every eggshell is different. No eggshells are created the same. But the last thing is texture. When the painter left his roller marks, you look at it closely, you can see that there's like an orange peel. Look, well, let's say you don't want to get a roller out just to do this little area, or maybe you do, or maybe you don't. But in any case, if I were doing a small touch-up, I probably would brush it out, and if I were to leave vertical or parallel brush strokes, if you looked at it from an angle, you would see it's pretty obvious it's different, and it might be an eyesore. So what I would do is I would brush it out, and then I would just sort of tap it and make a little texture just in the paint. As the paint is drying, as it's starting to set up, maybe I would do it a couple of times. If I had a roller that was already in the paint, I might squeeze it out so it's dry and just lightly touch it, and I would get a nice texture. Okay, that's it. Hope it helps.